former Senator David Perdue in Georgia recently receiving President Trump's endorsement to challenge Georgia's sitting governor, Brian Kemp, in the GOP primary. That primary scheduled for May 24th. Now, David Perdue joins me this morning. David, it's great to have you. Congratulations on entering this race. Why are you entering?
Well, Maria, good morning. We have a divided party in our state that was caused by Brian Kemp, and it's really over the elections of 2020. Brian Kemp caved into Stacey Abrams and allowed her to manipulate our elections in 2020, and we saw the outcome. I mean, it cost us 2 U.S. Senate seats, it cost us the majority in the United States Senate, and dramatically affected the outcome of the presidential race in Georgia. If Brian Kemp had not caved in to Stacey Abrams, we wouldn't be in this mess, and most people in Georgia know that. So we have a divided party, and I decided to run because I didn't want to watch this train wreck happen in Georgia and turn our governorship over to Stacey Abrams.
Well, this is really important, what you mentioned this morning, David, and I want to drill down on it because the country is still needing and wanting evidence in terms of what went down in the election of 2020. What have you found in the way of evidence in terms of cheating in the 2020 election in Georgia?
Maria, the liberal media has totally misled the American people on this topic. I've given up my life over the last year, and in November, during the runoff, I filed 3 lawsuits. I asked for a special session several times of the governor to get at this and have forensic audits that would get to the bottom of this, and to no avail. I even asked for the resignation of our Secretary of State in an unprecedented move to make a point. They just weren't listening to us, and they weren't investigating, and you saw what happened in the runoff. Almost 800,000 people had lost confidence in the system and did not come back out and vote, and we turned 2 Senate seats over to the most liberal people you can imagine in the United States Senate. So what I've found since then is basically facts. This is not conspiracy theory, Maria. There's a court case right now that a bunch of voters actually brought forth against Fulton County to get at the truth. And in that court case, a judge in a civil case ruled that the evidence was compelling and that he was going to unseal the absentee ballots in Fulton County. Now, he later dismissed the case because he said, if you can believe this, voters do not have legal standing in this issue. I've taken that case up, Maria, and I have gone forward, and we want to see if a candidate has legal standing, and we want those absentee ballots just in one county, Fulton County, unsealed, so we can finally have a true outside independent forensic audit. What we're finding is that there was significant illegal activity in Georgia. You're seeing some of it bubble up now with regard to harvesting and so forth, but it really materially affects these races.
Well, if you get the nomination, you will be running against Stacey Abrams. I want to know how you're going to stop it from happening again. Let's take a short break and then get your reaction to Stacey Abrams' sister making Joe Biden's shortlist of Supreme Court contenders. Does she have the chops, or is it his way of saying thank you for helping him win Georgia? We'll dive in with David Perdue next. Welcome back, and I am back with Georgia gubernatorial candidate David Perdue. And David, I want to ask you about all this pressure that you're apparently getting from Brian Kemp and also pressure from Stacey Abrams. You know, Joe Biden recently said that if he had 10 Stacey Abrams, he could, quote, rule the world.
Well, we have to fix this, Maria, and the first thing we have to do is get people confidence in the voting system again this year. I have to run in a primary, I have to run in a general election, and we're going to tell people what President Trump told the people in Virginia. Look, we fixed some things, it's not perfect yet, we know what they did, where they did it, when they did it, and how they did it, and we're going to make sure that doesn't happen again this time. So if they get out and vote, they can overwhelm the system, and that's what happened in Virginia, and we have a new Republican governor there, and we can do the same thing in Georgia. Stacey Abrams will never be governor of Georgia for one reason. She's a fraud. What she has done is materialize a lie over the last 3 years of voter suppression in Georgia, and she can never be governor. She didn't even go to the meeting with Joe Biden. When he came down there to talk about our racist voter suppression laws, she wouldn't even stand on the podium with him when he came to Georgia. And now we see him considering her sister for the Supreme Court. I mean, this is as corrupt as it gets, Maria.
So you will tell our viewers, are you saying that you will ensure that the election in Georgia will have integrity? We can be sure that it will be fixed. What are you doing to ensure you don't have the hanky-panky you referred to earlier in 2020?
Well, there are two levels. One is, what do we have to do this year? I'm not an officer in the state, so we have to rely on these guys that didn't do it last year. So what we're doing as a candidate is putting people in these polls, putting them in the precincts, and we're getting not 20 feet away. We're going to be sitting next to them this time. And believe me, we are educating and training people right now about what happened in 2020 to make sure it doesn't happen this year. More importantly, if you want to get this fixed, I've got to get elected to make sure that we enforce the laws in Georgia going forward.
All right, and real quick, your reaction to her sister, Georgia federal judge Leslie Abrams Gardner, being among Biden's top SCOTUS candidates. You know, she refused to recuse herself recently from a critical election case, instead ruling against the purge of 4,000 voters from the state rolls before Senate runoffs.
It was a totally corrupt decision. She should have recused herself. She should never be a candidate for the Supreme Court. This is nothing but payback for all the help that Stacey Abrams gave Joe Biden in 2020.
Wow. David Perdue, thanks very much for being here. We'll be watching. It's great to see you this morning, sir.